This podcast mentions alcohol and has adult content. Not suitable for children or the faint at heart. For entertainment purposes only. This is the Tales of a Small Town Bartender podcast. You have been warned.
Hey everyone, this is Tony.
This is Sean. Welcome back to another episode of Tales of a Small Town Bartender. You can find us at talesofasmalltownbartender.com. Visit the website today. Anyway, how was your week?
It was okay.
Struggling, I know. We were talking before we hit the record light, and both of us are suffering from headaches, right?
Oh God.
But the show must go on. The show must go on, and here we are. We're recording. We're getting this done for you, valued listener. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. So I heard you had a roaring 20s costume party at the bar you worked at.
Yes.
Saw some pictures. Looked pretty cool. Tell me about it.
It was fun. It was fun. We decorated it all up and, blacked the windows out, and it was fun. We had a roulette table and we had a blackjack table. And it was pretty cool. A lot of little toy guns, like Tommy guns and stuff with the costumes. It was cool. We had fake $100 bills all over the place.
Did you? So you didn't simulate the market crash then? That was my question coming up.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
Nobody had $100 bills in the 20s. I'm just saying.
That is true.
You didn't simulate the lack of food and jobs. No. Oh. So it's just good times at a party.
Did you see the one costume of the guy dressed up as Jim Carrey the Mask?
Yes, I did. How did that fit in?
Well, but in that movie, it's kind of in that era, I guess. I don't know. Supposedly.
Yeah,
they're dressed like that.
Yeah.
They're dressed like that. You know what I mean?
So I guess you could put like Jessica Rabbit and Who Framed Roger Rabbit in that. As well. So yeah.
Probably, yeah. He won the best. Cool. He won the best costume though.
Well, look good. They look good. So, yeah. Hats off to him.
He wasn't in our group photo because somebody dropped a beer on the floor and he was trying to clean it up. It was a full beer. He was trying to clean it up, and when he bent down, the jacket went on the floor into the beer. So he had to take it off.
No, officer, I haven't been drinking all night.
Yeah.
Smell like a brewery. So everybody had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. It looked like a good time. A lot of good costumes. Everybody dressed up.
Yeah.
Like you said, some gambling, and it looked like a great time. Good. When's the next party?
In September, we're doing a 50s party.
Oh my God, I almost asked, are you going to do like a 50s, 60s party?
Yeah, we are.
That's great. 50s, nice. So in September, so you got a few months to get ready for that. So get your leather jackets, get your hairdos, get your hair gel, plenty of time to peruse Amazon and hook yourself up and get a great costume to go to the party with.
Yeah. I might come as a pink lady.
Nice. I got 3 stories here, and speaking of, you're talking about the 20s, and we're talking about the 50s, and when you think about these decades, it comes with a sense of, you have a definition of what is what to be from the 20s era, right? And what is what to be from the 50s. So these 3 stories fit nicely with this. What are the rules behind certain things? And they are all alcohol related. Funnily enough.
Okay.
That we are talesofasmalltownbartender.com at gmail.com. So funnily enough, we are a bartender podcast. So the first one is, do you know what the difference is between a stout and a porter beer? I did not.
I don't, because they taste very similar and I like them both.
Right. Yes, they do. They taste very similar. Yeah, and they're both very good. So this article explained the difference between a stout and a porter. So now we can all sound like beer snobs because I'm going to tell you and our listeners here what the difference is between a stout and a porter. So stouts tend to be a bit bigger in both body and alcohol by volume, ABV, than porters. Of course, there are big exceptions to this guideline. So the iconic stout Guinness is very light bodied and it's only a 4.2 ABV, so very low alcohol for a beer. Not neither of the things that define a stout generally. So and there's a million stouts out there. So what makes a porter beer? And porters are actually before stouts. They're created, invented, whatever, before stouts.
Hmm.
And they got their name because at the time it was popular. It was a popular beverage among dock workers or the people they would call porters. Porters, right?
That makes sense.
And the style eventually became fuller bodied and bumped up the alcohol volume. The stronger or stouter variation of these multi beverages became known as stouts. So American and English porters generally fall between medium light to medium full body, between 4 and 6.5% alcohol. And the Baltic porters, sometimes called the Imperial porters, can go as high as 9.5.
Oh,
that's a stiff beer.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Holy mackerel. Can you imagine drinking 5 or 6 of those?
No, I think after 2, I'd be done.
So how do you tell the difference between a porter and a stout? There's an easy way. Other than by reading the label, obviously. Porters are a bit lower in body and ABV, and then higher in drinkability, while stouts are a bit higher in mouthfeel, flavor, and alcohol by volume, with a more aggressive personality. Think of them as the malty version of pale ales versus double India pale ales. They're siblings, but they're not twins. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I had a smoked porter. You saw that picture, right?
Ooh, oh yeah, that's right. How was that?
Delicious. That was delicious. I will go back there just to get that. So
when they say smoked porter, what do they mean by that?
It has a little smoky taste. He smoked. Oh, he told me what would he use, and I don't remember now. I don't remember because it's a brewery. They brew the beer there. And I asked him, and he told me cherry wood, maybe. It might have been cherry wood. It might have been cherry wood. I'm not gonna say that's for sure. It might have been something else, but I think that's what he said. Cherry wood. That he smokes it. He actually
fabulous
smokes it. It was just so good. It's the best beer I ever had.
Well, then that's amazing. No, I love that, and I can associate. A few weeks ago, I was at a restaurant, and they brought me an old fashioned, and they brought it in a silver glass box that you couldn't see in. But then when they opened the door, it was filled with smoke.
Oh.
And you took the old fashioned out, and you could drink it, and you could totally taste the smokiness and the wood that was the smoke inside the box. It was incredible. So yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to have what you experienced at that what that smoky porter, was it?
Yep. Smoked porter.
Want to give him a plug? Do you know the bar?
Yes, it's a blue collar brewery in Poughkeepsie.
There we go. Blue Collar Brewery in Poughkeepsie with their smoky porter. Hats off to you guys.
Delicious.
So yeah, that's the difference between porters and stouts, really. So stouts have been more popular because their peak was a little bit later than porters. Porters peaked in the 1980s and 90s and 2000s, and then stouts took over after that from the mid 2000s through 2010s. So, and I mean, there's still a ton of stouts out there, and you can find a porter here and there, but stouts really dominate the market, though. So yeah, there you go. That's the difference between stouts and porters. So the Japanese Whiskey Association is pissed off.
Why is that?
Right, and there is the Japanese Spirits and Liquor Makers Association are upset because the Japanese whiskey market has exploded in popularity over the last couple of years.
Hmm.
I've had Japanese whiskeys. I don't think they're that good, but to each their own, right?
I have not had it.
But no, they're different. If you're drinking, I guess American bourbons and American whiskeys, which we'll talk about in a second, bourbons and whiskeys, and then switch to a Japanese whiskey, you're really switching to what I would say like is a wheat based whiskey and has a very upfront and nasal flavor profile, not like the warm, throaty feel
Hmm.
that you get from a good bourbon or a good Tennessee whiskey, so to speak. So anyway, they're pissed because everybody's jumping on the Japanese whiskey bandwagon. They're not paying attention. There's no rules. It's the wild west, I guess you could say.
It's like
The
moonshiners.
wild Asian East. Yeah, everybody's going nuts. Some Japanese whiskeys are even found to be mixtures of whiskey and sochu, which is
Oh,
a completely different type of spirit. They're just mixing whatever, fuck it, all in, YOLO. And
my son was telling
so
me about sochu.
yeah, sochu's interesting and dangerous at the same time.
That's what he said.
Yeah, if you have a sochu experience, email us at talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com. Maybe I'll talk about mine one of these days. Very, very, very fun ish.
Ish.
Anyway, so the Japanese Spirit and Liquor Makers Association had to sit down. They had a meeting and they finally came up with 4 requirements, or you can't use the term Japanese whiskey on your drink, your export, right?
Right.
And they keep track of it through the liquor tax
Right.
law, which should make a formal designation of what constitutes a Japanese whiskey. So they were left to come up with their own parameters before that, but now, so these 4 requirements. So malted grain must be used as a raw ingredient. So it must be limited to malted grains, other cereal grains, and water. The water must be extracted in Japan only.
Oh.
Number 2, saccharification, which I have no idea what that means. Fermentation and distillation must be carried out at a distillery in Japan.
Okay.
Fair enough. The distilled product must be aged for at least 3 years within Japan in wooden casks not exceeding 700 liters in size. I don't know what that equates to. Freedom units. 700 liters would be pretty sizable if I'm thinking about a 2-liter bottle, right?
Yeah.
350 2-liter bottles. So, and the bottling must take place in Japan as well, with the alcoholic strength of at least 80 proof
Well,
at the time of bottling.
that all makes sense.
So the reason why I talk about that is it's funny that Japan's popularity in the whiskey game was getting so abused that they finally had to stand up and put their foot down and say, okay, enough's enough. So now we have to have these rules, but these are things that have been in the United States culture for centuries.
Yeah.
Right? So if we talk about, this is the 3rd article, what about bourbons? What are the requirements for a bourbon? So there's several. There's really about 6 requirements for a bourbon. Geographic location is one. It doesn't have to be made in Kentucky, although 95% of the world's bourbon supply is made in Kentucky.
Really?
Yes.
I
Most
didn't know
bourbons
that.
are, because of the limestone-rich soil, and gives it a unique flavors and minerals to the grain and water, they say. Although to be called a bourbon, it doesn't have to be made in Kentucky, but because of Kentucky's unique characteristics, it is. So the age requirement, in order for a bourbon to be a bourbon, it has to be aged for at minimum 2 years. And
Okay.
and we'll probably still have the original flavor of the cereal grains in it at that time. But yeah, the barrel type. So it's number 3. The bourbon industry requires bourbon to be aged inside of a specific barrel. It has to be aged in a new, not used, charred oak barrel. Unlike other distilled spirits that can be aged using used barrels, bourbon, no go. Since bourbon cannot be infused with artificial colorings or flavorings, it's illegal. The bourbon barrels are the ones that contribute to better aging and color. So the mash bill. So if you compare like a bourbon to a scotch, I think while both can be very harsh, I think is a fairly, and I think you'll agree that bourbon has a sweeter profile than straight scotch. Yes? Have you had?
Yes, I would think so. Yes.
So there's a reason for this, because scotch is primarily made with malted barley, right? Which also aids in the fermentation process. And malted barley will ferment it further. But bourbon has to be made with a mash of at least 51% corn. So you're getting sweet corn versus barley, which is
Right.
So don't drink scotch. There you go.
And then you have the rye side of it.
Oh yeah. There's actually some rules about that, which is kind of funny. And the rye and the standard bourbon have basically the same outline, which I'll talk about in a second. They're all very similar, the minimums, right? So I mean, you have like Michter's 12 year, and you have all these 12, 10, 8 years bourbons and stuff. But really, the minimum is 2 years. Other than that, they don't care.
So,
It's
question:
really just, yeah. Go ahead.
when you order an old fashioned, how do you order it? What liquor do you want in your old fashioned?
It depends. Sometimes it's bourbon, sometimes it's rye.
Oh, so just whatever you're feeling like that day?
Yeah.
You don't order the same thing every time. Some people are specific; they want it a certain way every time.
No, and I mean, as long as the bartender knows what they're doing when they make it, if they're mulching, or what do they call that? Pounding the shit out of the fruit and all that good stuff, and they're doing that well, then I mean, it's really depends on the flavor profile that I'm feeling for that day. And the bourbon has to be good, or the rye has to be a good rye. I don't like Jim Beam is worse than Budweiser for bourbons, as far as bourbons are concerned. In my opinion, I know there's some Beam drinkers out there, but yeah, it all depends. And yeah, and I understand the snobbery behind it, because bourbon definitely, bourbons can bring out the snobbery in some people, boy. Do you see that?
I work in a dive bar, so we don't have top shelf stuff. We have Maker's Mark. That's our highest.
Nothing wrong with Maker's, man. Maker's is all right.
We don't have oranges, so
ooh,
if I happen to bring, we do have the muddle, but we don't have oranges. So if I happen to bring in an orange, so once in a while I'll bring in an orange. He doesn't buy oranges. The muddle, that's what does the fruit.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, oranges at a bar with that. I mean, you're a small town bar, so
yeah, we're a dive bar. That's what I'm saying. We're a beer and shot bar.
Right. You're a beer tender, really, right?
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that either. Man. There's a lot to be said. I've had some of my favorite bartenders have been in dive bars. Oh God, I miss them. I miss them so much, man. Yeah, it's like a Jack and Coke where they pour the Jack in the glass and they wave the fucking soda wand over it for good luck. You know, here's a drink, $2.50, please. $2.50.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's how my Long Island iced teas are.
Oh my God. Good night, Irene. Oh, some great bartenders at dive bars. My God. The greatest. Anyway, I digress. Wow. But yeah, that's just an added expense is buying oranges for a bar similar to that. But man,
we were throwing them out all the time. That's why he doesn't buy them.
Yeah, if you can pour a good drink, you don't need shit like that. Customer for life, trust me. All right, so the barrel, the proof of the barrel, very similar to what the Japanese did. There's like no higher than 160 proof. Must be distilled at no higher than 160 and put inside the barrel no higher than 125. You can add water to lessen the proof if necessary, but other flavorings, no go, no dice.
Hmm.
So you can water it down a little bit if you need to cut the proof a little bit. When you bottle it, you got to have 80 proof, 40% alcohol.
Right.
And you can get most bourbons at that strength, but you can also get them at uh, uh, oh Christ, barrel strength. Barrel strength. Oh, barrel strength bourbon, man. Oh man, very strong, but the right one. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Just like so. Bottled bourbon types and their requirements, and almost all of these are the same. You need at least 51% corn. You need 80 proof, and you can make it anywhere in the United States. The minimum age requirement at least 2 years.
Hmm.
And that's the case for high rye, for wheated, for standard bourbon, for small batch and single barrel bourbon, for Kentucky bourbon whiskey, for straight bourbon whiskey, for sour mash bourbon, blended bourbons. So what's different? Bottled in bond bourbon, which basically is all the same thing. 51% corn. Everything else, though, has to be in at least 4 years inside a federally bonded warehouse or distillery.
Hmm.
It must be made during a single distilled season at one distillery by one distiller, and the proof must be 100,
Oh.
so 50%. Bottled and bond bourbon stands out from the rest. So then everybody's like, okay, so why is what makes a Tennessee whiskey? Because there's like obviously Jack Daniels, but then George Dickel has a Tennessee whiskey. But Tennessee whiskey is not considered a bourbon, although they are nearly identical. Like we were talking about porters and stouts.
Yeah.
Tennessee whiskeys and bourbons are almost identical, and they go through like the identical process, except for Tennessee whiskeys go through something at the end called the Lincoln County process. And all this does, it requires the essentially what bourbon would call the finished spirit will go through a sugar maple charcoal filtering,
Hmm.
which gets rid of all the harsh edges, I should say. So, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much that's it done, man. So, where was anybody imbibing when they tried to cut their hair recently in your life?
Oh. Well, see, this was actually a drunk or a kid, but I
Oh
didn't.
my goodness.
I didn't want to use it because
Okay.
it's just too insane, right? Like, right?
Sure.
So
Well, I mean,
I'll tell you the
I don't want to
story
blow the
though.
surprise, but
Yeah, I'll tell you the
yeah.
story. You don't have to guess if he was drunk or a kid because he was drunk.
Oh,
Drunk
this is gonna
adult.
be good.
He wanted to trim his armpit hair, and him and his roommate were both drunk, both males. They didn't have any clippers or scissors, so they decided that they were going to trim his armpit hair with a lighter.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. He
This
said
sounds like something. Yeah.
he said he went to the emergency room because his armpit hair caught on fire. Of course it did. And
Well, yeah.
after the emergency room visit, he couldn't put his arm down for 2 weeks.
Oh,
That's
man.
cool. But I do have a regular drunk or a kid.
I was hoping you were going to say that, but that is an epic story.
Yeah. So PSA, don't ever use a lighter to trim your armpit hair or any hair for that matter.
Yeah, this sounds like something like people in the military would do. When I was in the Marine Corps, when you get your uniforms, they have, and we used to call them Irish pennants. I know it's not the most politically correct term, but that's what they were. They're Irish pennants, the little strings that hang off your buttonholes and stuff, right?
Hmm.
They're Irish pennants. So Marines, we used to just take a lighter and burn them off, just
Oh
burn
yeah,
them off to make sure your uniform was satisfactory for inspection.
right.
So this sounds like somebody's burning the Irish pennants on their uniform and looks at their roommate and is like, "I've got an idea."
Right?
Look at all these Irish pennants I have underneath
That's
my arm. You want to
gotta
try to burn
be.
those off?
I mean, why would
Yeah.
you ever? Why would you ever even? I mean, I know they were drunk, but come on.
That's hammered drunk. Playing with fire, man. Well, I mean, they live to tell about it.
Yeah.
All right, what's a drunk or a kid?
Okay. Got stung by a bee and fell into a pile of dog poop.
Ooh.
You got very silent.
Yeah, I'm contemplating here.
Drunk
So
or kid?
let's see. All right, so I'm going to pull back on my own experiences
Oh,
and say this is definitely a kid.
okay. She says it's a she. She was a drunk adult.
Oh, I didn't get it right.
I got the rest of the story.
Okay.
Walking home from the bar after day drinking and got stung by a bee. Had never been stung before, and I fell into a yard we were walking by and did a stop, drop, and roll into dog poop.
Oh, brother. Somebody got their school advice mixed up in their head.
Yeah.
So the guy from the armpit needs to call this girl, and they need to get together.
Oh God.
Armpit first, stop, drop, and roll. Yeah. So yeah. So I think we have basically a match made in heaven, two hearts from two different stories that need to come together on whatever the hell app the kids are using these days.
I don't know. What are they using? No idea.
I have no idea. It's not Grinder. I know that.
No. Okay. I have no idea.
Anyway. All right. So I got that one wrong. So let's do New York versus. All right. So we're getting towards the end of these states. So
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We're on 28. We're on 28. So.
Oh, we still got half. Okay.
Yeah.
50-50 shot here. Let's see. Pick a random state. Arkansas. So I think we did Arkansas.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Nebraska.
We did not, I don't think. Let me see. Nebraska. No Nebraska.
Let's see Nebraska. Okay. So, all right. What do you know about Nebraska?
I always forget about Nebraska. I don't know.
Everybody does. Everybody does. Nebraska, Kansas, nobody remembers.
I don't think, Kansas, yeah, but Nebraska? I don't even know where that is. No.
So Nebraska is the state west of Iowa.
All right. Well, you lived there, so not in Nebraska, but
I lived on the eastern side of Iowa, and it took 5 hours to get to Nebraska, but I did go there a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody who drives west out of Iowa absolutely hates and bitches about the drive through Nebraska because it's flat and boring.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to look at. And they're right. I've done it a few times. They're absolutely right. It's terrible.
I could imagine.
It's not as bad as Kansas. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as Kansas. The only thing that I know Nebraska has going for it is Omaha was a pretty cool town.
Oh, yeah?
Outside of that, I got nothing, man. I got nothing. It's vanilla, flyover country, Midwest as it gets. Shitty weather in the summer, shitty weather in the winter.
No.
5 days of spring, 6 days of fall, and everything else is just a big shit show. So yeah, fucking gross. And
did you try their pizza?
I did not. But any Midwest pizza is complete garbage. So
yeah, I'm gonna say New York.
Yeah, same. It's awful. There's very little. Oh my god! I just looked up the alcohol the weird alcohol laws.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're not going to believe this.
Go ahead.
Bars can't sell beer unless they are also cooking a pot of soup? What the fuck? Is this real?
Oh my God, that can't be real. Really?
It is illegal to fly a plane while high.
Oh,
What the fuck? That's not even alcohol. All right, this site let me down.
it's probably
Cooking a
illegal
pot of
everywhere to fly a plane
Yeah.
while you're high.
Yeah, who the fuck wants to fly a plane? Oh my God.
And I guess you have to order soup with your beer. I don't know. Hey, I like soup. I would do it. I would cook it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. In the wintertime, it's the goat, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, site let me down that time. It let us down, man. Those were terrible. So
I don't
I
know
gotta
if I'd
say,
ever want to go there.
before I do the no, it's awful. Before I do the quote, I gotta say I did see something, which was very funny out here. I live in Vegas, and out here there's a million ways to spend your money, right?
Yeah.
There are all kinds of people, right? Yeah, there are all kinds of people trying to find a different thing to get you to spend money. And some of them are cruel, some of them are not the greatest. But anyway, this guy owns a twin engine plane, and in the back of the plane, you could pay money. There's a lot of different tours you could take in this guy's plane, but one of them is called the Mile High Club.
Oh God.
So he'll take you up $500 for half an hour for two people, and he'll take you around Vegas while you're in the back, and you do what you do,
doing what you're doing.
doing what you're doing at the Mile High Club, right? So
Wow.
I have two questions. My first question was, if you're going up there $500 for a half an hour for the Mile High Club, what are you doing for the other 28 minutes? I mean, just sightseeing? Are we just looking out the window? We playing cards? They get some snacks in flight or drinks? And then here's the other thing. Yeah. Oh, that was great. Thanks for coming. I mean,
literally.
Here's the other thing: is on the site it says, "Oh, you want to go to the Mile High Club? $500 for a half an hour, an additional charge for additional people." Like, hold on a fucking minute. Hold on a minute.
So the swingers.
How? I don't know.
It's the swinger club.
How lucky do you think I am? Be lucky to get one person in that plane, no less two. Or three.
Or three or four or five.
Yeah. How lucky? What?
I know some swingers, so I can't comment.
Oh, dude.
I am not one, by the way.
Yeah, no, not me. But these people over here, those people, but not me.
I know some swingers, but whatever.
I just thought it was very presumptive. It's like, yeah, you spend some more money. You can bring your friend up too. Wait a minute, what? Hold on. It just took me aback. That was funny. I thought anyway.
Maybe we should have a swinger episode.
Before we say goodbye.
Lieutenant Archie Hickox from Inglourious Bastards. You remember that movie? Great Brad Pitt film. Yeah. He said, Lieutenant Archie Hitchcock said, there's a special rung in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch. That's fitting for tonight's episode. Good on you, Archie. Thanks, buddy.
That's better than last week.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks ago.
Now I gotta go look, damn it. Yeah. Now I gotta go look. They say the only people who tell the truth are drunkards and children. Guess which one I am? Stephen Colbert. Oh, wait. Writer's block is a fancy term made up by whiners so they can have an excuse to drink alcohol.
Yes, that one. That was the one.
I don't need an excuse to drink alcohol. Jerk.
Well, that was a bad one. I was like, huh?
Yeah, it was a bad one. Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, I hate ending the show on an oh, well. Oh, well, fuck it.
Hey, let us know if you want to let us know if you want a swinger episode.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Yeah. Fuck, you know what? Fuck it. Why not? Let's do it. All right.
See if I can get them to come on the air.
Yeah. Let's do it before we get banned.
Before we get banned?
I don't know. I guess alternate lifestyles are more accepted nowadays, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. So there you go. If you're a swinger, visit talesofasmalltownbartender.com or email us at talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com. Once again, talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com. And if you want to put some gas in the show's tank, you can always head to buymeacoffee.com/toastb. Tales of a Small Town Bartender. Toast. Buymeacoffee.com/toastb. We're on the YouTubes at Toast Bartender. And
yes, yeah.
I think that's really. You got anything else? What else you got? What announcements you have? Anything exciting? You got paint classes coming out of your wazoo. I know that.
Oh, I just went through a whole bunch of. In the last 2 weeks, 147 canvases.
Holy mackerel, boy!
Yeah, I've been busy.
I hope you're. Are you compensated smartly for this effort?
Oh, yes.
Because Jesus,
I am.
I hope so.
I have two very small classes this weekend. I have one on Saturday that only has 8 painters and one on Sunday that only has 4 right now, unless I saw a couple more before then. And then next week after Sunday, I don't have any classes that week. So I have a whole week off of classes. I need it.
Good. Take it. Enjoy it. Have a vacation. Have a paintcation.
A paintcation.
There you go. Where's your do you mind saying where your class with 4 is? And maybe we can drum up some interest.
It's at the bar I work at, Giorgio's in Hyde Park.
There you go. Giorgio's in Hyde Park. You want to paint something? Talk to Miss Tony. She's got your supplies and your canvas, which is sketched out.
Yep.
And she's ready to put you on the canvas and make you look like a genius. I look at her. You look at the Facebook and you see all the pictures of the people that have attended it. They all look happy. It's a good time.
Yeah, they have a good time.
And the final product looks good, which means you're doing a good job with the templates. So, I mean, it's enjoyable all around.
It is.
Freaking weirdos showing up. I mean, there's that.
Well, yeah, if my stalker came to that one day that I texted you, I'm like, he's here.
Yeah. Gosh, that's like good. Now I know where to start looking for the body. Fortunately, nothing came of that. So.
Yeah, my husband was happy about that. My husband was not happy about that. He's like, he really wants me to punch him in the face, doesn't he? That's what he said.
Oh, I don't know if it's worth all that, but man, that's entertaining to think about. Super entertaining to think about. He looked good on the 20s party too, by the way. He had a nice suit.
Yeah.
Nice weapon.
Yeah, he had one of the. There was a, what are they called? The airsoft guns with the little beads in them. They're like plastic balls in them. But it looks like a real gun, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, does his have the orange tip on it?
It does have an orange tip. Yeah. Okay,
good. All right, good. Don't want any accidents. That would be disheartening, at least. All right. Well, that's all I have, and I want to thank everybody for hanging out, and thanks for dropping by, and thanks for supporting the podcast once again. Buymeacoffee.com/toastb and talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com. I just want to say thank you, and thanks to Tony for all the hard work she puts into the show. I appreciate it greatly, and we'll see you guys again next week. I'm Sean.
I'm Tony. Be good to each other.
You can email us at talesofasmalltownbartender@gmail.com. Check our socials. Facebook, facebook.com/talesofasmalltownbartender. Instagram, instagram.com/talesofasmalltownbar/. TikTok, @talesofabartender. Buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/toastb.